Kirsten, dim the lights. Okay. Here we go. You always said it the exact same way every time. Good old Ryan Seacrest.
Riverside.
Oh man, you're not there. I'm a singer, so I love those shows. Okay, so let's get ourselves together here. And I know the lights are a little too bright. I'm gonna just make a little bit more atmosphere for us. Atmosphere. There, how about that? A little better? Yes. Okay.
Stop it.
Yes, and take some, we'll breathe a little, okay? Do just a little bit of fire breath. Okay. You're ready?
I'm looking at the, I don't have paper.
I understand, but right now we're going to do an invocation. So. All right, so everybody just close your eyes and know that what has gone before is just a memory, just a thought. What's here and now is what's real. And so as you sink into the present moment, focus on your breathing. And take a nice, deep, slow inhale. And hold it. And slowly release through your nose. Now inhale again, slowly through your nose. And hold it. Expanding your lung capacity and your ability to experience and know more oxygen is going through your blood, awakening your brain, filling you with awareness. And then release and breathe out through your mouth slowly. And then notice what's happening to your muscles. Is there anywhere you're holding on? Anywhere that's kind of stuck in fear? It's not fully here and now. And just lovingly release your muscles into the divine presence, the divine one, the truth of who you are. This spiritual capacity that is so much more vast and so much more aware than you can even imagine right now. Because your spiritual truth is limitless. Your spiritual truth is vast. Always has your back. Always has your goodwill. Always knows that you are loved. And so as you drink in this beauty, this sense of being loved, this sense of infinite wisdom that's pouring in through you, that is you as a spiritual being. Opening up now to receive, awakening to this greater self that can and will give you the input, the information that you need for yourself and for others in this visioning process. And so knowing that this is so good and very good, we affirm it together by saying, and so it is. Terrific. All right, so Deirdre, you're going to need some paper.
Well, I brought some paper.
Oh, you have
Yeah.
paper? Good. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. All right, so welcome everybody, and let's go ahead and do a little check-in and see how last week went. How did you practice your visioning and what did you notice?
It was ridiculous and it was wonderful.
It was meticulous?
It was ridiculous and wonderful.
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous, Linda? Ridiculous.
No, ridiculous and wonderful.
Okay, so what, can you describe it, your experiential words, what that means? It's fine, Q, you're fine. Go ahead.
Laura, Laura, and I did a telephone three-way visioning, if you would. And it was fun to go through it one by one. The questions were a little different. We did it a little different, and it's all just great. What I found to be true for me is.
Okay, yeah, we can't hear you. Can you guys get closer to your computer? There you go. There, thank you. Okay, go ahead.
What I found so fun is that it was reaffirming once again that spirit and energy is everywhere. In that, you know, I don't know Shakira other than in this class. We've never met. And to know that there's no such thing as time and distance, and it reaffirms the oneness. Because Shakira probably nailed more about me than Laura did, and Laura and I know each other, and we were sitting next to each other.
Wow.
So I think what's real fun is that it affirms for everyone that you can do long distance healing, and you need not know the person.
Cool.
Yep, that's what Edgar Casey thought and did. So that's awesome. Thank you. Wait a minute, I'm still not clear. So what's the ridiculous part?
Well, it was ridiculously wonderful is what I said.
Oh. Okay, great. Good description. Okay, who else? Are we, yes, we are recording. Good.
So I found myself wanting to share with people about the class and the process without having any of my materials there. So I was wondering if I was sounding like just a blubbering idiot. Well, first you gotta do this and then you do So I've been sharing with my boss at work, and I promised that I would bring in my actual paperwork tomorrow and share with him from a space of these are the parts and then the actual affirmation.
Cool.
Because he's very curious. And he's been interested in everything that I've been doing at CSL Dallas, and I've been sharing with him, but it was just weird trying to explain this and have it land so that he could really understand it. And it had me go back and say, let me read my notes again. Let me make sure I really get what I'm doing.
Mm.
And so it's a gift. It really is a gift, because I actually spent Saturday morning doing vision boards with my best friend. He'd never done one.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said, we're sitting there, and he's like, how is this different from the class that you're taking? Well, I had everything with me then, so I could share with him. So it does make a difference to sound intelligent and to create some curiosity about it so that people really step into it and say, well, what can we do? So my best friend asked me if the next time we get together, if he and I could do one together.
Wow.
And we've been best friends for like 25 years. And he's always like, you're always doing cool stuff at CSL Dallas. I'm like, when are you going to get your butt in check? I've been sharing with you for all this time. But it's really great that people hear value in my just sharing about it, even though in my own mind, I haven't done a great job of describing it.
Well, and who was your own personal experience with visioning this week?
Wow, my fabulous partner so honored me, because we were going to do it on Saturday, but I had to get my football fix. So we didn't do it Saturday. I had to watch all the playoff games, and we did it yesterday. And
Is that ironic or what? Because I'm usually the stereotype guy at the football.
I'm telling them about the importance of the game yeah, that game's over, but this game is starting, and he danced with it. And the visioning we did last night was so clear and easy, or Sunday night was it was easy. It was with grace, like we've been doing it for a long time. So I loved it. And what I'm getting is that this is something, not just for this class, this is a part of my life going forward.
Fantastic. It's huge.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little warm and fuzzy inside. Okay, wonderful. Who else? Yes. Cynthia.
I visioned with Hugh yesterday,
Uh-huh.
and I think I shared last week that I wasn't really clear as to exactly what I'm doing. And so I still kind of felt that way yesterday when we started visioning, but I found it very interesting that I just met Hugh last week, and outside of knowing her name and knowing that she was a sweet person, that's basically it. I knew nothing about didn't know anything about her. So when words that started coming to me when I shared them with her, it was art and free flowing and creative and something else. And then she shared with me that she's a designer and that she's an artist. And so I found that very interesting, that those were the words that came to me when we were visioning that really did connect with who she is. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Awesome. What does that do to your belief about yourself and about this process?
That's a good question. I guess it's kind of, I've always believed, but always felt like, or have been treated the most of my life like I'm woo. And so, there she goes again, that kind of thing. But I guess it just gives me, it just kind of solidifies my beliefs that I've had for a very long time.
Wonderful. Thank you. Can you guys online, can you hear her? Were you able to hear her? Okay, great. So Shakira, how about you?
Oh yeah, can you hear me good?
Mm-hmm.
I thoroughly enjoyed this visioning process. I mean, I was blown away. Some of the things that Laura and Linda came up with, I had literally spoken into existence that morning. I was having a conversation with my husband, and we were talking about my spiritual practice and how it needed to evolve. And honestly, through this process, I feel like I may have found that one of those things that maybe I don't cling to forever, but for now can really strengthen my spiritual work. Because I think meditation has been a little difficult for me for a while, and I'm still learning the power of prayer with the spiritual mind treatment and whatnot. And visioning, though, I can tell you for sure it wasn't this amazing when I did it through Foundations, because it was a little bit more of just a one-time kind of individual experience, but bring other people into it just really makes it powerful. It's amazing to see how we're so connected regardless. I'm really in awe about it, really.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, because, I say these words every week, we're all one. This spiritual truth is across everything. So personalities, even though we're discrete little facets of this big giant diamond called God, we're all knowing each other. We're all part of the same thing. And so it's real evidence, and you guys are experiencing it now, that this is absolutely, and what this does for your conviction and your belief about your own spiritual truth, it magnifies it and amplifies it to beyond what was it last week? We were, I'm stuck, and I got a block, and all that kind of stuff. Well, look what's happening. It's like, wow, this is real. I know for a fact that spiritual truth exists. I know for a fact that I am one with everything, because I'm picking up on so-and-so's vibes and writing words for them. It's pretty awesome, and we're going to experience more of that tonight. All right, who else?
I'll go.
Okay.
I was blown away. It was absolutely like the power of three. I don't know. There was just something really cool about that. And like has been said, we didn't know Shakira, she didn't know us, and it was like the hits were just yep. It was very on point. I enjoyed this one very much.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you. What happened? We got a new lamp on.
Yeah. On the situation.
Let there be light.
There we go. Oh, you guys are so bright now. All things bright and beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Who's next?
Well, Diana's not here, so I will speak my part of this. Every time we would make a time to do it, something would happen. And I thought this is interesting because I think that I have practiced this, a lot, but she and I both said that being vulnerable on a particular issue was interesting. So I think we both sabotaged because I feel I'm usually, well, it doesn't matter, that's a story. I'm having a little, I can feel I'm having anxiety because I don't know where she is.
Right. Well, we all have a phone.
Yeah.
And I've wondered that too, because she didn't text or anything.
And we had thought that we would meet at about 5, and but we didn't clarify that. It was a tentative thing, and so anyway, that's what's going on with me.
Okay, I'm going to say, are you okay? Question mark. We are missing you.
Thank you.
There we go.
However, I did do it with my daughter-in-law.
Oh, cool.
Because, that was part of the thing. And anyway, and we already feel like we're like, on the same vibe. Like we finish each other. She's like one of my best friends.
Awesome.
So, and part of it was like we were saying the same thing, or, the words, how you harvest, and you talk about, what, and we had the same things to release, and to embrace on many levels. My face is right there. I get embarrassed.
Aw.
I know. Anyway.
Isn't it beautiful that you have this level of intimacy and that you can touch somebody that way?
So I did it with another person, not, who, anyway, I don't know what's coming up. I think I'm sad.
You feel sad.
Yeah, I feel sad that I didn't. Spirit was telling me to call Diana again, and I let it go. And I'm having a little bit.
Okay, well, her body table isn't here. She may have gotten her house. She may have, just missed class. We don't know. But it's right out of our control. And so, there's always that, what if I shoulda, coulda, woulda,
Well, but, it's trusting. It's the whole thing of intuition. And I know.
That's okay. Just be with that and know that all is well. It'll work out. Okay, thank you. All right. We got this side of the room.
Do you want to go, Q?
It was the first time I did with Jacinta. I think it was really good, right? Like, from the beginning, I wasn't really sure because I didn't really can do it well by myself, and then I have to do with a partner. But somehow everything just comes so naturally. So it's just follow the flow, and Yeah, and there's still something we haven't really figured out yet. Like
What is it?
Like, and she was visioning some like dolphin town. we don't know what that means.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, something like that. But
When you're doing the harvesting, it's like, well, what does this really mean? Is that what you're saying?
Well, we didn't get that far, but when we were visioning, when I was visioning for the cube, one of the things that came up was a dolphin tail in like ocean water, and that was one of the things that I had envisioned. And the diamond, I don't know.
Interesting.
yeah.
And it may come up later. All of a sudden you go, oh, that's what that meant.
Yeah, and I searched in Google, and Dolphin Tail is a movie. It's
It
about
is?
it's about a dolphin. He lost his tail. And everybody thinks he's not going to survive, but somehow,
And he survives?
yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
and swim again. So that's interesting.
Yeah. That's a great interpretation. You can just make it whatever you want it to mean.
Anyway, but the whole process, I think, is very, very great experience.
Good, good. Okay, Mr. Frank.
Right. Where to start? Well, it's interesting, and I'm going to kind of preface this by saying, Deirdre and I are, setting up the Insight seminar a couple weeks ago now, and it kind of hit me that inevitably our stuff tends to come up before we do these seminars, and I'm beginning to I experienced a little bit because I was feeling a little bit of self-doubt creeping in past couple days, and also just kind of feeling like I was just kind of tired. And we got it in. I mean, it was good. It was wonderful, but it was like we kind of barely got it in under the wire. I was exhausted last night, so I wasn't really too present. And there were just some. It was funny because like I kind of used a lot of different experiences, I think, against me to a degree. Like I just started this medication from my doctor, which is not bad, but I don't feel fully. I don't know. I feel like it's affecting me to a
Does it
degree.
make you loopy?
Yeah, I mean, I almost feel like I don't know. I'm trying to get a better sense. Because I don't know it was for my back.
Yeah.
But then he also insisted, because I was talking to him about, what was up, and he goes, look, he's a guy who practices Eastern medicine as well as Western. He goes, I think you need to take something to deal with your stress because of your cortisol levels and all that. And so he's been put me on Lexapro, I think, something like whatever. But anyway, it's.
So that's more like an anti-anxiety.
I don't know, antidepressant, anti-anxiety, something like that. And it's not supposed to kick in for a couple weeks. So I think
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not supposed to kick in for a month. But then that, and then it was fun. I mean, let's just get a long week. And then you mentioned, like, when you brought up when you looked at my website, it kind of, I don't want to say it got me depressed, but it kind of was like, I don't know if that's a God thing. You know what I mean? It was just kind of like making me just like go. When I moved here, I created a website to kind of possibly do the work I was doing in California.
Right.
And had the thing created. I have a trifold, business cards, etc. But it's just not realistic right now. I see it's. I don't know. I'm in, like I said, I guess, and then I just started thinking, I used to be so clear when I was younger. People used to say, "Oh, you got Frank type,"
Okay.
and now I'm like, I just don't know what's true anymore.
All right.
Calm down.
I've heard this
kinda like-
before.
I know, but I'm not depressed.
This is a ongoing thing. So tell me, how was your visioning experience?
It was okay. I didn't feel very present. I didn't feel totally connected.
Were you able to do it even
I
though
did
you
it.
were
In
present?
fact, I have Kathy's right here.
Now, what does that show you? If you were able to do it even though you're going through all of this stuff and uncertainty and, and you still could do it, what does that say about you?
that I can do it. But I also feel it's kind of repetitive what I'm showing up for me. And I don't know if that's necessary. It's cliche.
Are you asking the same question?
Yeah.
Okay, so tonight we're going to ask a different question.
Mhm.
And let's see we're going to shift into a new question. So we beat to this one. Kind of, okay, you got this stuff, right? And, I hope it was helpful when I sent you guys that harvesting step by step. And if anybody needs the picture, I can send you the picture. Laura asked for the picture today. So some people need the picture, some people need words. So it's okay either way. And so that's okay. It's really okay to be where you are. Some people, and you know what's interesting about spiritual growth too, is how your current state, your condition, has really nothing to do with your spirituality or the bigness of who you are. It's like you're inside this bigness and you're playing this little thing, like the dramas of life, right? And then you get a breakthrough and then all of a sudden, and another level or in your case, it's the same one over and over and over. And you keep doing treatment and it may take as long as it takes, but at some point you'll go, now I'm ready. And you'll be ready and you'll know that you know. Just like you knew when you were in California. You had none of these doubts or uncertainties or anything, right? And now you're about to do this event. So the elements are all there, and all you got to do is give up the story you're telling yourself about how you're not, the not story.
I just want to articulate this too. I guess this part of me is really sad that I can't share more with my wife because we're just so damn busy. So one of us has the kids and all that stuff, and we still love. I mean, we both agree that, thank God we both have a higher vision for our relationship and the big picture. We're able to see the big picture. But it kind of sucks that we don't get to talk about it. I mean, I was talking with her literally about this at 11 o'clock at night last week, and about what it was, because right over our sleeping child, our younger, who was right between us, and I was just kind of like, I don't know, just like.
And that's okay, and I hear that, and that's part of it. So I'm hearing the condition. I'm doing practitioner coaching right now, which isn't part of teaching the class, but we can talk afterwards and do some coaching, absolutely. And if not me, another practitioner, so that you can work through some of this stuff and get through to the other side.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so what we're going to do tonight is listen to Michael Bernard Beckwith. And has anybody listened to this online yet?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's great. And so Diana did not respond, but we know that she's fine, whatever she's doing. And this is a 20-minute talk. So what can you do to keep yourself alert for those of you that are visual learners when you're listening to a 20-minute audio?
Close your eyes and see it.
Okay, that's a suggestion. What else? Use one of your other modalities.
I'm not right.
Right.
Yeah.
Use your hands for something. Or draw pictures of, anything that will help you stay present with what he's saying, so your mind doesn't wander and you don't go into whatever your condition is and what's going on, but you're able to listen to him. Because what he's saying, this is the guy that invented visioning. So his process is a little bit different than how we do it, but it's still very valuable. Does anybody need any paper to take notes? We're all good? All right, so here we go. Let's see how this sounds.
Now, the vision process contains these components. But let me say this first. I'm going to go through the components, I'm going to explain them to you. And then after we have an understanding of the components of visioning, then a little later we're going to actually go through
You're there, Carol.
session.
Hold on.
The vision process contains...
Stop, because I think I just got... No, I didn't. I wonder what that sound was.
We can't hear it.
Okay, I'm gonna put the phone, we have a Bluetooth thing, but it is unstable. So I'm gonna come over here to you.
My phone is computer.
No, not Diana. Okay, no, because that would be a work to get to. Okay. And I'm doing the wrong one, so go back. Because I'm hearing him and I'm going, that doesn't sound right. It's a life visioning process. Go
Wait, let me
back.
say this first.
Stop. How do I get out of here? Stop. Okay, close all. Hey, you guys, you can see that I'm just so good at this. Audio, music, no, visioning, where are you? Visioning, life visioning process.
I'm going to go through
Okay.
the components and I'm going to explain them to you. And then after we have an understanding of the components of visioning, and then a little later we're going to actually go through a brief visioning session that you can then turn to at any time you want to and use as a basis for discovery, a basis for insight in your own life. And then as you begin to understand it, you can begin to be flexible and adapt it and let it unfold according to your unique pattern. I have been teaching this for over 20 years now, and we have birthed other spiritual communities, and there are other spiritual teachers around the world and corporate execs who are using this process, and they have adapted it according to their setting, what's going on in their life, and the history of their particular movement or corporation, and those main components remain the same. They write me and tell me certain ways that it has evolved for them, and it's all beautiful because it's all about unfoldment and progress and adapting to our own setting in our own life. So I'll go through the components. Now, one of the main components is unconditional love. That may sound funny when dealing with seeking to manifest something in one's life or to involved in the evolutionary impulse that comes into the universe. But before we do a vision process, before we engage the life visioning process, we always become still and engender, activate, cultivate the vibration of unconditional love so that the foundation of the work we're doing and what we're seeking to manifest is under the aegis of love. That when we, for instance, built Agape International, we wanted it to come out of the vibration of love. And we've discovered that as we've gone on to work with business plans and corporate endeavors, that it might as well come out of the field of love as well. Because love is synonymous for God. And God's real religion is love. Now, love is not syrupy, sweet sentimentality. It's not even an emotion. Love is the total givenness and givingness of the Spirit everywhere present. And the Spirit, one of the Spirit's qualities is that it does not have any withhold. And individuals who have been beseeching God as an example for God to give them something were praying amiss because there is no withhold in omnipresence. There is no withhold in unconditional love. There's no condition in the giving. The nature of pure spirit is total giving of itself at every point in the universe. And each and every one of us have been in the field of unconditional love at some time in our life where perhaps we were in the space of a grandparent or a dear friend or an associate, and you knew that they loved you and it wasn't based on any condition. You didn't win an award or receive an honor or get good grades or something to that effect. You knew when you were in this field of this individual, whether it was a teacher or a grandparent, that there was an emanation of unconditional love moving from them with no withhold, no condition. That was a small glimpse of how pure spirit loves you. Going back to the beginning in our introduction, when I explained one of my initial spiritual openings in which I labeled the presence of God, love, beauty, that came about because the love was so intense. When I opened up and could feel the saturation of the love moving in my direction, it was so intense. I had never felt anything like that before in my life. To be totally loved at the very core and center of my being, as if I was the only being in the universe. Now this is the love of God. And so as we begin the vision process, as we will do shortly, we always create a field of unconditional love as our atmosphere for the process. So the first component is unconditional love. Second component is the capacity and the willingness to engage in deep listening. The average individual does not have this skillful means. If you listen to people talk to each other, you may notice that oftentimes individuals are holding their words, barely listening to the other person speak, so that they can then say what they want to say on the subject. They can give their point of view, their experience, their perception. They're not really listening to what the other person is saying. So this skill is something that needs to be developed, particularly as you continue to use the vision process. Learn how to listen. Listening is not passive. It is reverent alertness. There is a degree of reverence and a degree of high alertness to what is seeking to be broadcast or spoken or listened to. You could even practice this with your friends sometimes as they're beginning to share something with you. Consciously enter into a state of reverent alertness, but what they're saying is the most important thing in the universe. Listen with that kind of intention, and you will then bring your whole being to bear with what they're saying. And oftentimes people are healed and comforted if someone is deeply listening to them, because many people never really get listened to. People listen in order to say what they want to say. So the second component is deep listening, and we're going to deal with that. I'm going to assist that when we begin the visioning process. And then as we formally move into the vision process, after those two conditions are established, we understand the law: ask and ye shall receive, seek and ye shall find, knock and the door shall be open. We understand that the nature of our experience is often determined by the quality of the questions that we ask. Oftentimes we ask debilitating questions. Why is this happening to me? Who is to blame? What's wrong? How can I fix it? These questions take us on an endless loop, downwardly spiraling into the world of phenomena and secondary causative factors that could some way or another play a part in what seems to be going on in our life. Now we want to ask a much higher question. And when we move into the vision process, we ask a question like, if you're okay with this word, what is God's idea of itself as my life? That's one way of entering the vision process. Or what is seeking to emerge as the highest possibility in and as my ministry, my business, my relationship, this project. When you begin this process and begin to ask that question, what's trying to emerge, it may come to you in many ways. You may get an intuitive hit. You may get a flash of insight. You may see a sign. You may actually see something visual pop in your awareness. You may hear a word. You may see a word. But ultimately, it's going to begin to come through you in language in a way that you can understand. And it will speak to you in your own inner language. As you continue the process, you'll develop the skill to understand what your signs mean and what that inner language means to you. In the beginning, it may be a little clouded because you're exercising a new muscle, but ultimately, you'll begin to feel, to hear with your inner ear, that is, and see with your inner eye the vision as it's seeking to express itself for you, as it's seeking to describe itself for you, as it's seeking to articulate itself through you. Remember, you are activating that deep listening again. And in that listening, you're not judging or censoring what's trying to happen within you. You're beginning to develop intuition so that you can discern it's being broadcast. Interestingly enough, the Word of God or the excellence of God or the spiritual ideas of God are always being broadcast. It's a principle. Guidance and wisdom and intelligence is a principle. It doesn't cut itself off or turn itself on simply because you're asking the question. Your asking a question makes you receptive to that which is already trying to birth itself in you. Whether you call it your oversoul, your higher spirit, the higher mind, universal intelligence, whatever word you want to call it or however you want to describe it, it's always broadcasting. Are you asking? Simply making yourself available, ask and you shall receive. You're making yourself open, ask and you shall receive. You're attaining a beginner's mind, a childlike mind to receive that which is always being given. Now, after we discern and we harvest a description of the vision, the next level is we ask, what must I become in order to manifest when I am now catching a vision? What must I become? Remember the term that you cannot have anything that you are not willing to become. You're not willing to become in consciousness. The impossibility to ultimately have something that you're not entrained with in consciousness. You may temporarily possess something, but ultimately you'll lose it if it's not a part of your consciousness. So this particular question is one of the most important questions in the vision process. You're asking, what must I become? Another way of saying this, what is my growing edge? Where must I grow in order to manifest this vision that I'm now describing? How must I grow? Where must I change? Now, on an inner level, you know these answers, and you hide them from yourself. You play hide and seek with the guidance, sometimes pretending that you don't know your area of growth, your growing edge, where you need to change, where you need to grow, and that's okay. For in this moment, you're fully present in asking the question, and then developing the skillful means to not judge or censor that which is expressing itself through your soul. And you'll begin to describe to yourself, or the oversoul will begin to describe to you, or you'll begin to catch an insight as to where you need to grow, what skills need to be honed, what qualities need to be birthed, what points of view need to be shed, or what points of view need to be enhanced. This is the powerful question. And then you may look at that question by saying, what is it that I need to let go of? Remember, 100% of spiritual growth, development, and unfoldment is about letting go. It's about dissolving or letting go that which is hindering right seeing, that which is hindering right action, that which is hindering insight and revelation. Spiritual growth is not about getting, it is about letting. It is about letting go of that which no longer serves you and letting the power that is already within you escape and express and reveal itself. So we ask the question, what do I need to let go of? We work with that for a while. Then we ask the talents and gifts and capacities do I already have that can serve this vision. Sometimes we're sitting on our assets. Sometimes we're sitting on qualities and gifts. Perhaps some of them are latent, we're not fully using them, but we know we have them. This particular stage of the vision process allows us to be aware of what we already have. Interestingly enough, there's a scriptural reference that says, to he or she who has, more shall be given. And to he or she who has not, even that which they have shall be taken away. So when you begin to number what you already have, it assists with the emergence of your self-love and appreciation and your spiritual esteem, because you realize you already are bringing something to the mix. You're not standing in a lack of information. You're standing in an ever-increasing awareness that you have something already to bring to the table? What do I have? What gifts, talents, and capacities do I already have? And the next level of the life visioning process is willingness, and what we've often called the sacred yes. Willingness. Here we both we continue our inner process. The vision process is it's an introspection, meditative process in which we are consciously engaged in. And we engage ourselves to the point where we catch the feeling tone of willingness. Willingness allows us to consciously participate in our own unfoldment with a greater ease. Because when you ask what must I become, there may be some resistance around the vision itself. No, that vision is too big for me. I don't really want to do that. This doesn't sound like me. If you continue with the process, resistance will begin to be broken down. Oftentimes, there are expressions that are seeking to happen through us, and we're trying to play in a very small sandbox and maintain a level of happiness and joy within a very small way of living, when in fact, the Great Spirit within is trying to express through us and destroy that sandbox that we're in. I remember a number of years ago, before I had started Agape, and I remember I was always getting this intuitive hint that I was to start a spiritual community, but to me, it was the last thing on my mind. I did not want to do that. I loved what I was doing. I was on the faculty at the School of Ministry. I was the director of training at the World Ministry of Prayer. I had my private clientele, which I saw 6, 7, 8, 9 people sometimes a day. I did my private seminars. I would guest speak at different places around the United States. That seemed to be enough for me. But there was always this inner impulse seeking to come forward that I would push under. I didn't want to do it. And I remember at that time, my neck would get stuck. And I would go to a chiropractor to do the manipulations necessary to have my posture correct. And constantly it was chronic. Every couple of months I have to go be good. And I remember the moment when I gave up the resistance, that I taught the community of Agape in Green State and in Vision State. And the moment I gave up the resistance, and okay, I'll do this, my neck snapped into place. And I realized that the resistance that I was having to expanding that paradigm was expressing in my body as my neck being stuck in one place. The moment I said yes, not even knowing how to do it, but saying yes, and the willingness was there, the neck became unstuck. So yes, you may experience some resistance, and it's par for the course. If you want to go under par, you can say yes at the beginning. So we engage and embrace willingness. We engage and we embrace the sacred yes. We engage and we embrace commitment. And we begin to feel what that feels like. And we say yes, and we embrace it, letting it unfold. And then, as we move through that stage, we come to gratitude, thanksgiving, and appreciation. We begin to feel in our bones that we are grateful, so very appreciative and thankful, not just for the vision, not just for what we're becoming, but we allow this gratitude and this thanksgiving to well up with the full awareness that that which we have seen is already happening, and we feel it. We feel it. One thing you should know about vision is that your vision that is seeking to manifest through you, it is not in your future. When an individual has a vision, it's not a vision of the future. It is a vision that's already happening in the mind of love intelligence, waiting for the right condition to manifest. The surface mind may call it the future, but be aware that your tomorrow is just more of infinite minds today. So the vision is already happening in some dimension, occupy the same space that you're in right now. Years ago, when science was an infant, it used to be said that two objects could not occupy the same space. We're now through the advent of quantum reality. We understand that that's not true, that there are many things occupying the same space, but in other dimensionalities, you see, in other dimensions. So when you catch a vision, you're catching something that is occurring in another dimension. And you're seeking to become the right condition for it to manifest here and now in this dimension. So you're not straining some future experience, sending your thoughts above, they may lose their power base. No. You're grateful and you're thankful and you're appreciative that it's happening now. It's happening now. Now, what I have described here, love, the deep listening, the right asking, the coming, and consciousness, whatever our growing edge is.
That's it. I remember that from last time. All of a sudden, oh wait a
This
minute.
process contains these components. But let me say this.
No, let's
I'm going
repeat
to
it.
go through the components and I'm going to explain them to you.
Because it's a 40-minute talk, so
Components of vision.
we edited
And then
it
a little later, we're going to actually
poorly,
go
actually.
through a brief vision session.
We edited it poorly. Sorry, Michael. Okay. So what do y'all think of that? First of all, what popped out at you? And who was able to stay focused the whole time?
Do I stay focused?
Yay, focus people. Okay, good. So what popped out at you as something that you just now discovered about this process that you didn't know before? Yes, Deirdre?
Well, it didn't pop out at me
Okay,
because it's familiar, but it has been lost or ignored.
okay.
So the catching of vision
Mm-hmm.
and the awareness that, you know, it's just another dimension. It's just me. I caught the vision because it is.
Right.
And I know I have experienced that. I am familiar with it. And the lack of awareness or practice, or I don't know what to call it, but anyway, I'm like, you know, Frank and I just said these words with Joe, it's Berush Beishan, which means the blessings already are.
Oh.
And
Huh.
yeah, and I say that. You know, it's like when you said, you know, we're one and the oneness, and it becomes sometimes for me rote. And yet, when I know, you're talking about knowing, or it's real, it's not just words. So anyway, that popped back out at me.
Great, great. What else?
I think what struck me that I'm still rolling around my head is the willingness and saying yes, but it doesn't necessarily automatically equate to doing. And I think that's what I do. Like, am I supposed to just say yes now? Now I gotta get on it. I mean, and that's and I think it's more of a okay, just allow for the next step to show up.
Yay!
As opposed to doing.
Great.
So that stuck out at me.
That's awesome. Who else? You can also ask questions. Yes, ma'am. Shakira.
The visioning process and how it allows to become more receptive to what is already happening is that by receiving it, we're just getting out of the way of what spirit has. Every time he says that or I hear that, it's like a really good reminder to just move, like just ego move, my thoughts move, just let it be. And I agree with the first statement that was put out there, is that it's already happening. That was a really big one for me. My pen did not stop moving. I could not stop writing notes the whole time. So I was totally tuned in, tapped on to what he was saying.
Awesome. Love that. Okay, so that what he said, what my note was, vision isn't a vision of the future. It's happening now, waiting for the conditions to manifest. So then we do that in spiritual mind treatment too. It's where everything we're speaking in the realization step is, it is now. It's happening now at the level of spirit. And yeah, time, space sometimes has to catch up, but that's okay, because depending on how thick we are. Now, Ernest Holmes says that belief can be instantaneous. Jesus said it too. Faith of a mustard seed, right? But most of us have a little bit of thickness in there, so it takes a while to manifest. And you don't have to do anything about it. You're absolutely right, Frank. It's a vision, and then you let the vision guide you rather than pursue what you saw. It's a receptive approach towards reality. Whereas we're so focused on this kingdom 2, I'm it, I gotta do it, it's up to me, kind of whole Western civilization thing, rather than I am being led and guided by the greater I am. What a concept. How cool is that feeling?
The one question that comes up for me though is that I just keep repeating that the spirit meets you at the point of action.
That's true. And your willingness but it's still being led, but you move, you treat and move your feet. But rather than, okay, oh, I got that vision, okay, red tomato. Okay, I'm growing tomatoes now, and you go out and instead of being receptive to the vision as you're walking through life. It's like Tai Chi. You've seen Tai Chi, right? Mm-hmm. So it's more like that, or Aikido even. It's more like moving with spirit rather than, okay, I got the spirit, now I'm good, I got it, I'm going for it. Which is very Tony Robbins-y, ego-centric, if you will, kingdom 2. So this is kingdom 4, God as me. So I am fully integrated. I've gone through the receiving process, God through me, and now I'm functioning in kingdom 4, God as me. Does that make sense to everybody? Do you have a question, Q?
No, I'm listening.
Okay. All right, so this is what I got. There's a lot more. There's a long form of visioning, which we don't do here. You've noticed we have 5 steps. We have 5, right? 5 steps. And so when you look at each of these sections, so let's start at Spirit's highest, where is it? Spirit's highest gift, let's see, gift, Duncan, what is God's idea of itself as my life? Yeah. Rather than what is Spirit's highest vision of itself expressing as? Right?
And then trying to emerge.
Right. What is seeking to emerge? So it's like, it's there. It's this power that really wants to contribute to the great overall goodness and manifestation of your life, your highest and best expression as an individual in this form. It's seeking to express that through you. And it's always waiting for the conditions. So as we're receptive to this and we hear the vision, we can ask that question. All right? And then he goes off on to ask and you will receive what's God's idea of itself. Asking the question makes you receptive to the answer. Now, wasn't that interesting? So we ask the question, and that creates a void. And in the void comes the receiving of the answer. But without the question, there's no receiving. Yes?
How long is the process?
How long?
From the moment you ask the question to the moment you receive.
It could be hours. It could be years. It could be minutes. There's no. Yes, I'm sorry. She's on her way. Got stuck in a meeting with her councilman. Yay!
That's good.
See, it's all good. Unneeded worry.
There's a question.
Yes.
When I first started, I'm not quite sure how to do this. So in the past, I've been taught, or what the thinking is, if I do these things, it's like be do,
You do have.
yes.
Be do.
So you do these things
Mm-hmm.
and you be this way, and then you get to have this result.
Right.
And what he's telling us is the opposite. You be this way,
Mm-hmm.
and then you do these things, the receptivity, that information that you get, and then you get to have, the vision manifests. So it's completely flipping. It's a way of being, and then that which is intended is revealed. Is that correct?
Absolutely, and that's how science of mind works, right? That's the whole process here, is beingness. And so in the beingness, they were talking, whoever was talking on Sunday, Peter or Karen, about manifestation or demonstration. That's the result of the beingness. So having the intention, using the law, because the law does the work. So you're spirit, we're all spirit. And part of spirit is the law. We think of it as the dynamic and the receptive, right? The two different aspects. So the law is the machine, the motor, which you could call the doing, but in spiritual mind treatment and in science of mind, what we do is we let the law do the work. All we do is set the intention and then allow the process to reveal itself. And then you walk along being in the vision, rather than trying to do it on your own, as it were, because you're so much greater. So how many of us get stuck in the, I've got to do it? It's up to me, man.
I get stuck in the method. So the intention is
The
there,
how?
and the method will come.
Right.
Except, I'm sure I've got a good method in you. So it's the whole thing that she cares about. I just get out of the
Right. And the other thing that, one of the greatest things Peter taught me was that, okay, so here, you're Indiana Jones, and you can see the other side, and there's this big gap, this valley, and there's nothing there, and you walk on the clear thing. You take the step, but it's clear, and then it shows up, right? So you take the step on this clear bridge, and you're looking down, and you can't see anything, it's clear. You're hanging out, standing, you're not on the other side. You're on this step. Well, guess what? In reality, the only thing that's real right now is this step and the next step. There is no bridge to the other side. The bridge is created as you do the stepping. Yes.
So what comes to me is, my thought process is that it is about listening, and it's about surrendering, opening up.
Mm-hmm.
I think that through years of just life experience, your family, all these things that have been put inside of you that are really blockages, that you have to let those things go, be open, be receptive, and basically surrender and trust that Spirit is going to guide you. And know that Spirit is going to guide you.
Yes, and know that you are spirit.
Yes.
And and that's the other thing that fouls people up, is because we have to use these separation words.
Right.
And so identifying with the process that I am spirit that I'm listening to, which is just so messes up your brain to think about, because there's still me. There's me, Carol. There's this discrete entity called you. And then there's this big thing called you. And so I still feel like I'm in a giant ball or a bubble of spirit, and I'm walking inside it, but I'm also got all these tentacles or antennae that move all the way out. We see it in Reiki easily, right? Mm-hmm. This energy field that I'm not just this, I'm this. Right. And so I now am receptive because I'm open to this out here, but it's still me. It's very personal because it's me. Now, obviously, at some level, I'm not all of it. I am it, but I'm not all of it. See, I'm not. And so Q, last week when you were saying, well, don't you get all egocentric when you're talking about I am God? because you're not all of God, but you are God. You are in God, and God is in you, right? But there's also God that's so vast that that's not even part of you, really, except for, you still have a connection to it.
You're part of God.
Right, right. So when we think about it that way, then we're hearing and receiving. So then he goes into these questions like, okay, what must I become? What's my growing edge? And what we ask is, we have what must I become or embody. So we use the word embody here. What must be embodied? So who am I going to be in this vision? And so that's it. So you can get into asking yourself these deeper questions within that first question or the second question. And then so what do I need to release? What do I need to let go of? So I may be holding on to the old story, the story that I'm not good enough, the story that I'm confused. My big story for years and years was, I can't see anything. It's just a big fog. I don't see anything. It's all a big block. I know it's there, but I can't see it. And it was so frustrating because I couldn't see it, even though I knew it. And so I finally had to get rid of the story that I don't see it, because I really did. All I had to do was quit telling myself that story and then be willing to see. And one of you was just talking about this sense of vulnerability in this process, because it's really allowing yourself to feel deeply that you're not flawed, to feel deeply that you are entitled to the vision because it's yours. Okay, so then we have, what do I need to let go of? We got that. Okay, spiritual growing is not about getting, but about letting. What talents do I already have for this vision to manifest? And this is where we can easily start to go back into the old rote patterns of, I already know myself. I know what I'm good at. I got my list here. So that one is more of a challenge sometimes to just receive. What is really good about me? What am I talented in? How is what I already have, how is that going to serve me to manifest this vision?
Is that number 4?
This is his number 5. What do I need to let go of? Then he said, what talents do I already have? Which must be like a 5B or something like that, because he has a lot of different steps here. So after that, here in the way we do it, we're talking about what must I embrace? Well, I've got to embrace my own gifts and talents. I got to embrace receiving help from others. Maybe this is a collaborative endeavor. And I've been charging along all by myself. My big problem was I just wasn't open to asking others for help. So that could be it too. So you listen to that. Then he moves into, is there anything else? He doesn't even talk about that. He goes into willingness, sacred yes, and commitment. Meaning, it's an attitude of receptivity, this willingness to receive, willingness to have the vision, and the willingness to live, embody, embrace, and manifest that vision. Okay, then we have gratitude and appreciation. And then the one that you guys all mentioned was this, that it's already happening. So, sounds like a lot of questions, doesn't it? A lot of steps. And so when we do these 5 steps here, we're including all of that Michael was talking about. It might be helpful to listen to this again. He has the other one that you can get that's in your folder. It's another, I forget what it's called. It's practicing or something like that. So he has I've got another audio in there. What's it called? Just so you guys can find it. It's called Practice Life Visioning, 47 minutes. And it's really good too. But then, so you've got somebody to be with during the week if you can't connect with your partner or you're needing a refresher. All right?
What's the name of it again, please?
There's only 2 in that folder.
Okay.
And let me get it. It's called Practicing Life Visioning. The one we just listened to was the life visioning process. And then, but it starts right away with the steps. And of course, like Don, remember the first night he brought that book for those people that like to read. He actually wrote this all down too. So there's a lot of ways to keep getting this information. It's because we're not going to all get it tonight. We're trying to get pieces, and every week you've noticed we're getting more and more pieces, right?
So, do we know how Don's doing? Because he's had the surgery.
No, he hasn't had the surgery. I saw him on Sunday. He was at church. Hi, sweetie.
Yeah.
That's all right. We figured you were moving in.
No, but what is the story about that?
Great. So Diana, what you missed was we listened to Michael Beckwith, the audio that's in the folder on the student materials. And so just discussed that primarily and did a check. So we're about to take a break now that you're here.
What's next, so?
Okay, awesome. So let's go ahead and be back here at 8:30 or 7:30, as the case may be. And we'll check in with you guys then, all right? Awesome. All right, and so you'll pause the recording? Yes, very good.
Are you Frank reading this?